business piece. So, I mean, you started in New York with Ollari and the idea.
Yeah.
What made you decide to move to India and be based out of Delhi here?
So after a few years of like the back and forth, coming for a month, overseeing production, I think my micromanaging skills came into full effect here, and it's helped me thrive greatly, honestly, in terms of the production side.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was coming and going, living in New York and trying to operate the business from there, but yet the supply chain was based in India. It was obviously hard for me to really oversee that on a daily basis because of the time difference, because of possibly the friction of work cultures and schedules and all of these things. Or obviously, too, I think I was a new brand, so being taken seriously, you have to put your foot down and say, take me seriously. This is a business for me. I'm paying you for a service, and your duty and your responsibility is to give me that attention properly. But I think, sometimes as a startup and as a new designer, you're pushed to the back. You're giving small units. You're not giving huge orders. And you're just trying to really figure it out yourself still. So for me, obviously the product is the core of my business, and it couldn't launch successfully. That was the foundation, obviously. So for me, I had to micromanage that, and I had to make sure that daily I was seeing exactly. And for me, it was going as deep as sourcing all the fabric myself, seeing the cost, talking to the suppliers, being in the factory when they're doing the hand beadwork, things that you cannot do remotely. It's just impossible, Again, this is a smell, touch, feel business. Mm-hmm. And so if obviously from New York, from a laptop, from my 2-bedroom apartment, which one room was my studio, like a makeshift place, it was really hard to even obviously micromanage, but even mentally grasp what was even happening. So slowly I would come and do a month and do my new collection, or if there's production. I mean, my first order was a very small production, and you were actually there, a part of that journey, which is
so funny.
Really funny. I had such a small order, but I was like, I'm flying to India and I'm making sure that they're doing it correctly. And actually it worked out in my favor because the order was wrong. Right. So thankfully, before it got shipped to the States, and I couldn't sell it. What is the waste of money, of time, and now I'm pushed back. So that was a huge eye opener for me to say, Meagan, you need to my overhead in New York was insane. I was paying for an apartment. Everything in the States is obviously much more money. So I think it was just that common sense for me to say, listen, you're starting a business. The money that you're spending on your apartment, living in this really comfortable space, and, you can put that into your business. And so I didn't have any solidified investment coming in. It was just kind of touch and go. As it was coming in slowly, it was going out, just like that. So that was, half the battle was financials, and half the battle was obviously micromanaging the supply chain. And I just think trial and error. I knew that previous designs or sourcing or, anything, beading, production, sampling, it all was, the outcome was surreal. Obviously, it was much more effective, and it came out successful and beautiful and perfect, and just the way that I envisioned it when I was there, obviously. And then when I was home, it was waiting for emails, hello, did you get my email? And you're losing time, and time is money. So that was a huge thing for me to say. It was just, I think I was just fed up with not having the resources to micromanage on a daily basis. And that was hard for me because I knew that the business could not thrive, the sales couldn't happen, the marketing couldn't happen if the product wasn't there. And if the product wasn't perfect, I was definitely not going to risk having this negative reputation off the jump for a poor product that was falling apart or didn't associate the value with what I was asking for, and for my margin and what it retailed for. So this is important to for me. I could have easily said, yeah, it's falling apart, but buy it anyway, but that's not who I am, and that's not what the type of empire that I'm trying to build. I'm building it on honesty and integrity, and I obviously I want to maintain that. So not only am I micromanaging the product, I'm designing it. It's like this very transparent, like real flow that I am showing you exactly what's happening, and there's no secrets. There's no underlying, sort of issue that could just make you doubt, my sincerity as a designer or a businesswoman.
But yeah, I feel like I mean, you could look at it micromanaging, but I do feel like you created a very efficient model for yourself, where you decide to take the risk to make your supply chain more efficient, your production, everything much more efficient, much more leaner from the get-go, which I think is so important for anyone that's starting a business, is to identify, okay, where is there excess and how can I get it better so that your core product still stays true to your values. And
I think it's like, where are the holes and how can I fill them effectively? And I think that for me, that's how to solve. I mean, for me, I'm a solution-oriented person. If someone comes with a problem, I'm like, okay, great, we all have problems, but let's not focus on the problem, it's the solution. And there's always a solution to everything, even if it's not what you initially intended it to be, there's always a solution. So that was my focus, is to say, well, where are there faults, where are there holes, and how can I, A, like you said, identifying them, and B, putting my solution-oriented hat on as to say, how can I fix these holes? How can I fill them? Where it's going to obviously be beneficial for my business and not lose any more time. I think hopefully my goal was to, get this running to a point where we're not losing any more time in fixing and the back and forth of how to tweak and the trial and error. I'm trying to minimize that. I mean, even though it's always going to be there, trial and error is always there, and issues are always going to be there, obviously. But minimizing that bulk that I have to sort of in those challenges.